I apologize. What does the last name start with?
Mather Fox.
Ah.
Court will call 25 CF 2746, State of Wisconsin versus Zion Lee Mather Fox. Appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Zion Lee Mather Fox makes a special appearance in person with counsel Kim Zion.
Have you received a copy of the criminal complaint?
Yes, we have received a copy of that. We'll waive the reading.
Is the address on the front for Mr. Mather Fox the best mailing address?
It is. He resides there with his mother.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding as to the misdemeanor charge and entering not guilty plea on Mr. Mather Fox's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $2,000, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Balkis A, that's BALKIS, last initial A is an apple, and a ban from Diving Hawk Trail, and that's in Madison. Also, no contact with either of the co-defendants in this matter, and not to possess any dangerous weapons. Reason for the cash request, I don't see failure to appear history, but I think based on the charges here, the amount of exposure and the concerning allegations in the complaint, I think $2,000 is appropriate.
Counselor.
Yes, no objection to any of the proposed conditions. I do ask that the court consider signature bond in this matter. Zion just turned 19 years old today. He has no prior history at all, no problems in school, no juvenile referrals, no nothing. Graduated from high school this past spring, has 2 jobs, is studying to be an electrician. Unfortunately, about a month ago, started hanging out with a couple of people he shouldn't be. I think reading the complaint, it's, and based on my conversations with the DA's office, Mr. Mather Fox was the only person who was truthful with the authorities. He cooperated fully. He did not know what was going to happen, and that appears to be the case based on my review of the complaint. Was not part of the planning of this, was surprised, and didn't know what to do. I think that given his complete lack of any history, in addition, his parents, his siblings, his grandparents, all his extended family all live in Madison. He's lived in Madison his whole life. So he has strong ties to community, no priors. So I think that it is appropriate for a signature bond. He would be residing with his mother at the address on the complaint.
There's a PSA report that does indicate that he has no prior anything. There's no felon or possession of firearm when there's a firearm involved, so that tells me that there's not a delinquency matter in regards to any felony matters. However, the crime itself is serious and entails a great penalty. It's Act 3 eligible. I am going to set some cash bail to assure Mr. Mather Fox's appearance at future court dates. I'm going to set it in the amount of $400. I'm going to order that you have no contact with Balkis A. You not be at Diving Hawk Trail. You have no contact with any of the co-defendants. You are not to possess any dangerous weapons that includes firearms during the pendency of this action. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, counsel.
We will waive those.
Those are waived and a status conference shall be scheduled. Good luck to you, sir.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Can I go back? No, thank you. Yes. Yes. least to the extradition right away. We could probably wait on that when we get her back in there, so we can get you guys through it.
Hey.
We're gonna do is.
That already went?
Yeah.
Out of the box, yeah. Start flipping that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready for this. So up next will be Richard VANDERBLOEMEN, appearing by civil.
Roll call 25 CF 2741, State of Wisconsin versus Richard VANDERBLOEMEN, appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Richard Vanderbulen appearing via Zoom. Mr. Vanderbulen, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. At this time, we are unaware if Mr. Vanderbulen is eligible for public defender services. We'd ask that he be given a copy of the public defender sheet if he wishes to apply. Mr. Vanderbulen, you should have received a copy of the criminal complaints. Did you receive a copy of that?
Did.
Your Honor, we'd acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading. Is the address on the top there the best address for you to receive mail?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
The address appears to be correct.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. As to count 3, I make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on Mr. VANDERBLOEMEN's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting a signature bond along with the conditions that the defendant not consume or possess alcohol and not consume or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription.
Any objection, counsel?
No objection.
I will then order a signature bond for Mr. VANDERBLOEMEN. I will order that you not use or possess any drug paraphernalia or controlled substances without a valid prescription. I will also order that you not use or possess any alcohol during the pendency of this action. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, counsel.
Your Honor, at this time, we will waive the time limits.
Time limits are waived. A status conference shall be scheduled. We are adjourned in Mr. VANDERBLOEMEN's case.
You got it.
Next up is DAKARION McMahon. Hold on. Holding on one more.
How do I sign this?
That's right. We won't see those through. Yeah, it's one thing. Right, so that's right. So it's not the same. That's for those media, seeing it over there, people. Over there. What you said, the first lesson. You know, for yourself too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. At least they did. So, like, how they, you know, you said nothing. You guys said what? Yeah, I'm ready. McMahon.
Roll call 25 CF 2725, State of Wisconsin versus DAKARION McMahon, appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
DAKARION McMahon appears in person and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. McMahon is eligible for public defender services. Your Honor, we acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading. The address should be updated. Hey, I cannot read that. So 1 Windstone?
One Winstone Drive, apartment 100, it's not, it's the same one.
Got you. That's 1 Windstone, WINDSTONE Drive, apartment number 100, 53718. We'll acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading and stand mute to count 2.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding as to count 2. I'll enter a not guilty plea on Mr. McMahon's behalf. I understand there's someone who identifies as a victim who would like to speak here today. This is your opportunity to tell the court what I should do in regards to setting bail. Ma'am, could you please state and spell your name for the record? I believe on the screen, your name says Lashay, Lashay. Lashay, can you hear me?
It's Lachey G. W. Sorry.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. We cannot hear you if you're trying to say anything. You look like you are unmuted, so make sure your volume is turned up, Lashay. Lashay, this is your opportunity to tell the court what you think I should do in regards to setting bail. We've given Lashay opportunities. I don't know what's going on with her connection, but we're not able to hear anything if she's saying anything or wishes to make a statement. State's position on bail.
State's recommending a signature bond along with the conditions that the defendant make no acts or threats of violence towards Lashay G. Lashay. And a ban from the 500 block of Northport Drive.
Oh,
500 block?
I would strongly suggest against that, because they're asking for a signature bond. That's for right now. Okay. We'd have no objection to those conditions, Your Honor. We will not waive time limits though.
I will then order a signature bond for Mr. McMahon. I will order that you direct no acts or threats of violence towards Lashay G and that you are banned from the 500 block of Northport Drive during the pendency of this action. I will note that time limits are not waived. A preliminary hearing shall be scheduled timely. We are adjourned in Mr. McMahon's case. Good luck to you, sir.
We'll be able to readjust the bail and reorder so there's no contact with the address at that next hearing. And that's why I didn't waive time on, so they had that hearing as quick as possible. Yes, they asked for a signature bond.
Right, so next up is Victor NAVA. Good.
Man, they're asking for a signature. I know. It can only hurt you.
That old thing, we heard the water.
Records everything.
Yes.
NAVA.
Court will call 25 CF 2735, State of Wisconsin versus Victor NAVA. Appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Victor Navo, Jr. appears in person in custody with defendant Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Your Honor, we would acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading, standing mute to any misdemeanor charges. We do have an address update for the court. That should be 1018 Northport, NORTHPORT Drive, Madison, Wisconsin, 53704. Though he is currently on appeal hold, so the Dane County Jail might be the best place for him to receive mail at this time.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding on to the misdemeanors and enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $7,500. Along with the condition that the defendant have no contact with. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing, but Zarahi GG, that's SARAHI. And no contact with any immediate family members of that individual. Reason for the cash request of $7,500. We are in Act 3 territory, and I'll also note, it's my understanding the defendant was or is on probation for a false imprisonment charge at the time of this offense.
Yeah, we'd have no objection at this time to those conditions. They're appropriate given the nature of the PO hold. And I think he'll have an opportunity to address bail at a later time. We'd ask that time limits not be waived and that a timely prelim be scheduled.
I will set cash bail in the amount of $7,500. I will order no contact with Sarah IG. Is that what you said?
The initials would be GG.
Sarah GG. Time limits have not been waived. A preliminary hearing shall be scheduled timely. We are adjourned.
We'll work on it. So.
Next up is Steve, that's very by Zoom.
So, not up to me. Sorry, what did you say?
Zoom. Okay. I think it'll be Stevens, everything?
Okay.
Right?
4 of them.
Yep. Yeah, and just a heads up, he does not want SPD, and my indications say that he wants to proceed pro se, but I'll check with him before.
Yeah.
Ready? Court will call State of Wisconsin versus Gary Stevens, case numbers 25 CF 2727, 25 CF 2738, 25 CF 2739, 25 CF 2740, all for initial appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Attorney Devontae Wenham appearing on behalf of Gary Stevens. Mr. Stevens appears via Zoom. Mr. Stevens, can you hear us okay?
Gary Stevens, you there?
Mr. Stevens, can you hear us?
Can you hear them, Gary?
Mr. Stevens is appearing via Zoom. I see an individual walking in the back of the cell, not up near the front portion. I don't know if that's Mr. Stevens, if he can hear us or not. Bailiff, is Mr. Stevens by the door?
He is by the door by his sink. He just shook his head no when you asked if he could hear you.
Mr. Stevens, can you come up to the door, sir? I see movement back by the window. Has he moved up towards the door at all, or is he still in the back, bailiff? I couldn't catch that. I'm sorry. You're not coming through clearly at all. Is he still back in the back of the cell, or has he moved towards the front?
Mr. Stevens is towards the front. He's intentionally placed himself so that the camera cannot see him through his window.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I would note,
Mr. Stevens is not being held on any of these charges. He is only being held right now on a probation hold. He's been in custody since October 27th.
Your Honor, I indicated prior to the hearing that Mr. Stevens wanted me to, does not want SPD and wanted to proceed pro se. I do not know what his wishes are at this point in time. Given that, I don't know how we should proceed.
Mr. Stevens, you have an attorney here for today's purposes as an initial appearance attorney. Do you wish to have representation or do you wish to represent yourself for this initial appearance, sir? Mr. Stevens is making no response about representing himself or having you represent him, Attorney Wyndham. So given that, please move forward.
At this time, I'll acknowledge receipt of the complaints. We'll waive their formal reading. We'll stand mute to the charges or to misdemeanor charges. I'm not sure what the best address at this time would be. Given the status of his PO hold, I think the Dane County Jail would be the best address for him to receive mail.
I have reviewed the criminal complaints. They all allege single felony charges. State's position on bail.
In each of these 4 cases, the state's request is going to be identical. I'm requesting in each case $500 cash and the standard non-monetary conditions. Reason for the cash requests in each case. I understand it's slightly academic given the DOC holds, but at this point, this defendant has quite a few, or is piling up quite a few cases with similar conduct here in the jail, whether it be assaulting others or throwing bodily substances. At this point, the state doesn't really have an option other than to ask for cash bail. Thank you.
Attorney Wyndham.
We'll be seeking a signature bond. What we haven't heard here today is any missed court appearances. I understand that these are Act 3 eligible in nature, given the assaulted nature. However, these are not in the sense of physical arms or legs being thrown. I understand that it is a discharging of bodily fluids. However, I do believe that a signature bond would adequately and appropriately allow for Mr. Stevens to appear for court. Thank you.
Looking at one of Mr. Stevens' prior cases, 25 CF 799, there is a PSA report authored in April of 2025. Looking at that case, it gives him, which applies here as well, pending charges at the time of the offense, prior misdemeanor convictions, prior felony convictions, prior violent convictions, prior failure to appear within the last 2 years, prior failures to appear older than 2 years, and prior sentences to incarceration. Ultimately recommends cash bail. Now we've got 4 new charges. Given all of that, I do believe some cash bail is necessary to assure Mr. Stevens' appearance at future court dates. I will set it in the amount of $200 per case. Time limits as to the preliminary hearings, counsel.
We asked for a timely prelim.
Those are not waived and a preliminary hearing shall be scheduled timely. We are adjourned on Mr. Stevens' cases.
Thank you.
Next up is Jeremiah Hill. Hill.
Total call 25 CM 2878, State of Wisconsin versus Jeremiah Hill appearances.
88 Sam Smith for the state.
Jeremiah Hill appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham for the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. Hill is eligible for public defender services. The address on the complaint appears to be correct. We'll acknowledge receipt of the complaint and we'll waive its formal reading.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding. I will enter a not guilty plea on Mr. Hill's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting a signature bond along with the condition that the defendant have no contact with Christopher B. Christopher is common spelling and B as in boy for the last initial.
Any objection?
No.
I will then give Mr. Hill a signature bond. I will order during the pendency of this action, you have no contact with Christopher Hill. Time limits as, it's a misdemeanor.
It's Christopher D.
Christopher B. Thank you. We are adjourned in Mr. Hill's case. Good luck to you, sir.
This one. Next up is CJ Hall.
You're,
B as in boy.
okay, that's what I thought. CJ or Kieran? CJ or Kieran? He's like CJ.
Court will call 25 CF 2583 and 25 CF 2747, State of Wisconsin versus CJ Hall appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Hall appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. Hall is eligible for public defender services. Your Honor, we'd acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive its formal reading in both cases, and we stand mutating misdemeanor charges.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint as to the misdemeanors in 25 CF 2747. I make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. State's position on bail.
And Your Honor, if I may, there's two separate addresses. The 233 North Watertown Street address is the best address for him to receive mail.
Thank you. State's position on bail.
In 25 CF 2583, the state is requesting a signature bond and a ban from all farm and fleet locations.
I'm sorry, a ban for farm and fleet, and what was the,
Signature bond in
thank you.
the case ending in 2583. As to the case 25 CF 2747, the state's requesting cash bail in the amount of $7,500, along with the conditions that the defendant not operate a motor vehicle, that he not consume or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. Reason for the cash request in this particular case, looks like what's alleged, the defendant was called in for dangerous driving. Law enforcement found him at a park and ride, and he woke up and was fleeing and eluding from several officers, traveling at approximately 100 miles an hour, weaving and driving into oncoming lanes. Law enforcement eventually had to conduct a pit maneuver to stop. And there were also signs, initial signs of impairment noticed by law enforcement. And I think it's also noteworthy, there was an admission to EMS of using various drugs. For all those reasons, the state feels first that this defendant should not be operating a motor vehicle, and that significant cash, particularly in the amount of $7,500, is appropriate.
Counselor.
Your Honor, we'd have no objection to the signature bond and the ban from farm and fleet in the 25 CF 2583 matter. However, we'd be seeking a more modest amount of cash. We'd have no objection to the non-monetary conditions. I think they're appropriate at this point in time. However, Mr. Hall is eligible for public defender services, showing that he's indigent. He was working construction as recently as a week ago. However, he's afraid that he has lost his job at this point in time. As stated, Mr. Hall is eligible for public defender services. He does have deep ties to the community. He's resided here in Wisconsin all of his life, specifically here in Dane County, and does reside here currently. For those reasons, I would be seeking a more modest amount of cash in the amount of $500 to $1,000. I do believe that that would be an appropriate amount, given the nature of this case. I think it puts in weight in regards to the seriousness of the offense, but also is a manageable amount that Mr. Hall could potentially post. Thank you.
In 25 CF 2583, I will give Mr. Hall a signature bond, and I will order that you are banned from all farm and fleet locations during the pendency of this action. In 25 CF 2747, the conduct alleged and attributed to Mr. Hall is scary and endangering, given the alleged eluding and flight from the officers. I do believe some cash bail is necessary to assure his appearance at future court. Phew,
Bless you.
future court dates, thank you. I will set cash bail in the amount of $2,000. I will order that you not operate a motor vehicle and that you not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia during the pendency of this action. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing.
We'd
Counsel.
ask for a timely prelim, Your Honor.
A prelim shall be held timely. We are adjourned in Mr. Hall's cases.
Kevin Hall, that's right. Next up is Michael Johnson. Okay. Jonathan?
Roll call 25 CF 2748, State of Wisconsin versus Michael Johnson. Appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Michael Johnson appears in person and in custody with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. Johnson is eligible for public defender services. I think the best address at this time would be the 615 East Washington at the Beacon. Your Honor, we'd acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading and stand mute to the misdemeanor charges.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. As to the misdemeanors, I do make a probable cause finding and entering not guilty plea on Mr. Johnson's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $5,000. Along with the standard non-monetary conditions. I'll note failures to appear on May 21st, 2024 and January 17th, 2024. This is the defendant's third open case by my count. What particularly strikes the state is the defendant, in connection with this case, told law enforcement several times that he will continue stealing until the city of Madison gives him a job. He's also on probation for a robbery, I believe, but there was imposed in state prison hanging over his head. He's still not obeying the law. For those reasons, the state feels significant cash is appropriate.
Counselor.
Your Honor, we'd be seeking a signature bond here, given the nature of these charges. I understand that it might be a little strange, given the PO hold, though. Mr. Johnson is currently on probation. It's my understanding that Mr. Johnson just signed an alternative to revocation in regards to that. I think a cash bail would essentially hold him until he's able to, he would not be able to participate in that alternative with a cash bail here. So for those reasons, I do believe that a signature bond would be appropriate and allowing probation to address this as they are closer to the situation and have the resources necessary to place him under a hold if he is not cooperating with that alternative or committing any new crimes. Thank you.
Given the number of charges, the potential penalty that Mr. Johnson is facing, the prior failure to appear, the number of cases he does have pending, I do believe cash bail is necessary to assure Mr. Johnson's appearance at court. I will set cash bail in the amount of $2,000. I will order a ban from Macy's, Old Navy, and Kohl's. Time limits as to Mr. Johnson's preliminary hearing.
We'd ask for a timely prelim.
Time limits are not waived. A preliminary hearing shall be scheduled timely. We are adjourned in Mr. Johnson's cases.
Next up is Stephen HAAGENSEN, appearing by Zoom.
Roll call 25 CM 2879, State of Wisconsin versus Stephen HAAGENSEN. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Stephen HAAGENSEN appears via Zoom and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. HAAGENSEN, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Could you repeat that?
Pronouncing your name correctly.
Say your name for the court.
Stephen Stewart Hagensen.
Hagensen, okay. And Mr. Hagensen, did you receive a copy of the criminal complaint?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, we acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading. We'll stand mute to the charges. At this time, Mr. Hagensen is eligible for public defender services. Unaware currently, what the best address for him is.
Mr. Hagensen, do you have a best mailing address, sir?
1918 Middleton Street, Middleton, Wisconsin.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding and enter not guilty pleas on Mr. Hagensen's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's recommending cash bail in the amount of $200, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Benjamin R. Benjamin is common spelling, and last initials R as in Robert, along with a ban from Target. Also that he not consume or possess alcohol, and the state's requesting that if he does post, he be referred to pretrial services for alcohol monitoring. Reason for the cash request, looks like the defendant was just released on bail last week for similar conduct, so the state feels some cash is appropriate here.
Counsel.
Yeah, I would be seeking a signature bond here in relation to these matters. Mr. Hagensen is a lifelong resident of Wisconsin. He does have deep ties. He is currently eligible for public defender services. So the financial resources are limited. In regards to the circumstances here, we're here for misdemeanor matters in regards to the circumstances here. As far as the non-monetary conditions, we'd have no objection, though I would strongly consider whether pretrial services is necessary given the misdemeanor nature in this case. I would note that his prior failures to appear in the past 2 years are 0 based off of the public safety assessment. Thank you.
There's a PSA report in this case. It gives Mr. Hagensen a 4 out of 6 on new criminal activity, a 4 out of 6 on failure to appears. Pending charges at the time of this offense, prior misdemeanor convictions, prior failure to appears older than 2 years, and prior sentences to incarceration. Given the number of cases, given all of the information in the PSA, it ultimately recommends a cash bail. Therefore, I do set cash bail in the amount of $200. I will order conditions that he have no contact with Benjamin R., a ban from Target, and that you not use or possess any alcohol during the pendency of this action. At this point, I will not order bail monitoring. We are adjourned in Mr. Hagensen's case.
Next up is Tony Caldwell. Caldwell.
Court will call 25 CF 2744, State of Wisconsin versus Tony Caldwell. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Tony Caldwell appears in person and in custody and with attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Unaware at this time if Mr. Caldwell is eligible for public defender services. I have handed him a copy of the public defender sheet if he wishes to apply. We'd acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading and we'll stand mute to count 2.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding as to the misdemeanor and enter a not guilty plea on Mr. Caldwell's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $10,000, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Balkis A, BALKIS, a ban from Diving Hawk Trail in Madison, no contact with the co-defendants in this matter, and not to possess any dangerous weapons. Reason for the cash request of $10,000. At an earlier hearing, we spoke about one of the co-defendants, Mr. Mather Fox, and the state requested quite a bit less cash bail. Reason for the $10,000 request, other than the fact this is an armed robbery and the amount of exposure, it's my understanding, or based on my review of the complaint, that Mr. Caldwell was much more of an active participant in this, thus the state's larger cash request. Thank you.
Your Honor, we'd be seeking a more modest amount of cash bail here, probably closer to a signature bond, but somewhere in the signature bond to $1,000 range. Mr. Caldwell is currently 17 years old. The public safety assessment here suggests a signature bond and a report and completed pretrial services. I think that would be appropriate here, given the nature of this charge. He is 17 years old. He does have ties to the community. He currently resides with family here within the community. And so for those reasons, we'd be seeking a signature bond, or if deemed necessary for cash bail, we would ask for something in the amount of like $1,000.
There's a PSA report. I know they do not have access to juvenile records in regards to Mr. Caldwell, if those exist. I do note that reading the criminal complaint, this is an armed robbery which involves some violence, where Mr. Caldwell is a much more active participant as alleged in this complaint than the individual that came through earlier. Given this Act 3 eligible offense, given the potential grave penalty associated with the gravity of this offense, I do believe cash bail is necessary to assure Mr. Caldwell's appearance at future court dates. I will set cash bail in the amount of $3,500. I will order that you have no contact with Focus A, that you have no contact with either of the co-defendants, that you not go armed with any dangerous weapons, that includes firearms, that you not be at Diving Hawk Trail. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, Counselor.
We'd ask for a timely prelim.
Preliminary hearing shall be scheduled timely. We are adjourned in Mr. Caldwell's case.
Next up is DAELON and Savage. Savage.
Court will call case numbers 25 CF 2724, 25 CM 2665, 25 CM 2873, 25 CM 2874, State of Wisconsin versus DAELON Savage. Appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Savage appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham for the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. Savage is eligible for public defender services. Is it 3121 or should it be?
Actually, 3021.
3021, okay. The address on the complaint appears to be correct. We'll acknowledge receipt of the complaints. We'll waive their formal reading. So that's fine. You can. Which do you prefer as your?
Yes, I'm just.
Okay. Actually, we should update the address to 3818. I'm sorry, 585818 Russet, RUSSET Road. Is that Madison, Wisconsin?
Yes.
Is there an apartment for that?
You have another apartment where I just moved in. It's two.
Apartment 2. You know, is that?
It's two.
What's the zip code?
53714.
53714.
I have reviewed the criminal complaints as to the misdemeanor charges. I do enter a make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on Mr. Savage's behalf. State's position on bail.
In each of these cases, the state is requesting $500 cash along with a ban from Kohl's, Macy's, and Von Maur. Reason for the cash request, I'll note all of these cases involve either misdemeanor or felony retail theft. I don't believe there is a lengthy history or any failures to appear. However, it's worth at least mentioning in the case ending in 2724, that's really reads more like a string of several thefts over or several incidents over several months with thousands of dollars of merchandise being taken. For that reason, the state feels $500 per case is appropriate.
Counselor.
Yes, we'd be seeking a signature bond across these cases. Mr. Savage is a resident here, a lifelong resident of Dane County. He is public defender eligible. He, given that he does have some financial restraints in regards to the circumstances. I think it's a little more academic at this point in time, given the Rock County probation hold, or I'm sorry, a Rock County hold. But we would be seeking a signature bond here in these cases. Given the nature of these cases, it is not a strong likelihood of significant incarceration. In addition to that, the public safety assessment recommends a signature bond stating that there were 0 prior failures to appear in the last 2 years, as well as older than 2 years. The purpose of cash bail is to adequately ensure an individual's appearance in court. Given the nature of this and the public safety assessment, I do believe that a signature bond across these 4 cases would be appropriate.
Given that he's on probation out of Rock County and
I'm sorry, that's not a probation case. That's a hold out of Rock County.
a hold out of Rock County?
Yeah.
It's not a criminal matter?
It's a criminal matter. It's not a probation hold.
Commissioner, it should appear on the booking cure that you were provided by the bailiff. It looks like it is a body only hold for Rock County case 25 CF 1147. Sure, there's a retail case.
Given that he's got another case pending in another county and has a hold, given the sheer number of offenses that are alleged here, given the conduct, once the officers do contact him, he is resistive with the officers and not allowing them to be taken into custody. I do believe that some cash bail is necessary to assure Mr. Savage's appearance at future court dates. In the misdemeanor matters, 25 CM 2873, 25 CM 2874, and 25 CM 2665. I will set cash bail in the amount of $300. And I will order a ban from Kohl's department stores. In 25 CF 2724, I will set cash bail in the amount of $500. I will order a ban from all Kohl's stores, Macy's stores, Van Maur's stores, and a no contact with the co-defendant in that case. The co-defendant in, I'm sorry, no contact in 25 CM 2665, no contact with Leah Jensen during the pendency of these actions. Counselor, as to the felony matter in the preliminary hearing.
Could ask for a timely prelim.
Time limits are not waived and a preliminary hearing shall be scheduled for Mr. Savage. We are adjourned.
Next up is Shannon Mitchell for forfeiture.
Is there an extradition?
There is an extradition, we have 2 people I was gonna do before that one.
Did you want him to go speak while we do the ordinance? Never mind.
He was doing that when we had the first.
You're on top of things. Who are we doing for the ordinance? Mitchell, thank you.
Mitchell.
Court will call 25 FO 2363 Dane County versus Shannon Mitchell. Appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the county, defendants here in person in custody without counsel.
Mr. Mitchell, I have what some consider good news. The police department referred up criminal charges against you. The DA's office reviewed those police reports and decided not to charge you criminally. Instead, they've charged you with the county disorderly conduct. It's a municipal citation. It's similar to a parking ticket. It is a non-criminal offense. If this is the only thing holding you, you're going to be released today, no matter what you plead to this charge. Sometimes it's a case that can be resolved today. What is the county's offer for resolution?
That would be court costs only.
If you were to plead guilty or no contest to this ordinance violation of county disorderly conduct, I would assess court costs only of $114.50. You'd have some time to pay that. If you want to plead not guilty, that's absolutely your right, and this case can get set for further proceedings. How would you like to plead to this ordinance violation? I'll find you guilty. I'll assess court costs of $114.50. You'll have some time to pay. It takes care of this case. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Register. Next up is Jeremy DEZOTELL for bail on hearing.
Court will call 25 CF 444 State of Wisconsin versus Jeremy DEZOTELL for a bail hearing. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Jeremy DEZOTELL appears in person and with attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office.
Is there an updated address for Mr. DEZOTELL?
Best address for him would be the Beacon, 615 East Washington.
We are set for a bail hearing. State's position on bail.
It's like there was a failure to appear and a bench warrant issued on August 14th of this year. I believe bail was set at the time at $350 cash. I'm asking for a cash increase of $400 to what would be a total of $750 cash. Along with, I apologize, along with the same non-monetary conditions.
Counselor.
Your Honor, we'd be asking that the cash be increased to an amount of $500. Mr. DEZOTELL is still eligible for public defender services. He does have 4 children that reside with him here within the community. He is currently unemployed since August of this year. He was working within the community here in Sun Prairie. Based off of all these, for all these reasons, we'd ask that the amount of increase that the state is asking for, we'd ask for a $150 increase. Thank you.
Looking through Mr. DEZOTELL's history, this isn't his first failure to appear. Ultimately, he was given a cash bond on February 18th. After a bail hearing reverted to a signature bond on March 21st, he promptly failed to appear on April 24th. Cash bail was then set May 2nd to $350. He then promptly failed to appear after having cash bail posted on August 14th. Given his 2 prior failure to appears, given $350 was not enough cash to make him appear for court. An increase is necessary. I will increase the cash bail by $400 for a total of $750. We are adjourned in Mr. DEZOTELL's case.
Next up is KATHLEEN Miller for extradition.
Roll call 25 CF 2742, State of Wisconsin versus Kathleen Miller, appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Kathleen Miller appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office.
We're here for an extradition on an extradition case. Is Ms. Miller waiving her right to a hearing, or is she contesting, and we're going to
We are currently contesting the extradition.
counsel's position on bail?
Looks like the extradition is to Houston County, Alabama for possession, receipt of controlled substances, possession of marijuana, use and possession of drug paraphernalia. The state's requesting cash bail in the amount of $5,000 to ensure her appearance.
Counselor?
Yeah, I think a more modest amount of cash would be appropriate here, given the nature of the underlying charges out of the state of Alabama. I would note that Ms. Miller does have ties to the community here. She currently resides in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. Given the nature of these circumstances, I would ask that the cash bail be somewhere in the amount of $500 to $1,500, and she is eligible for public defender services pending verification at this time.
Given this is an extradition complaint, given that she's wanted in another jurisdiction in the state of Alabama, cash bail is necessary to assure Mr. Miller's appearance at future court dates. I will set cash bail in the amount of $2,000. And proceedings for extraditions shall commence. We are adjourned in Ms. Miller's case.
And pursue. So give you a little bit more information in regards to how to pay that, and you can with that. Say you just have to come up the jail, but plus up the statement. And we are attorney here to represent you at the extradition proceedings. Yep, it looks like you've been found out, well, they just have to verify through this. So wait, you know, I just have. Exactly, yep. Yep. Post that today, then you'd be.
Thank you, ma'am.
No. I think. I was just like, what?
I mean, you would know better than me.
There's no way, like. Like unless the weight is like an insane amount, which doesn't make any sense given the charges. Like if I get a sign, I'm gonna reach out to Robin. Can we dump this? That's no snow out. That's fair.
Here's your pipe. He's supposed to yell at.
Who do we have?
It's free.
Court will call 25 CF 2706 and 25 CM 2872, State of Wisconsin versus Arielle Green, appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Arielle Green appears in person and Custody with Attorney Devontae Winham from the State Public Defender's Office. The address on the complaints appears to be correct. Ms. Green is eligible for public defender services. We'd acknowledge receipt of complaints, bless you, and waive their formal reading.
I've reviewed the criminal complaints. As to the misdemeanor matters, I do make probable cause findings and enter not guilty pleas on Ms. Green's behalf. State's position on bail.
In 25 CM 2872, the state's requesting a signature bond and a ban from the 5800 block of Balsam Road in Madison. It's BALSAM. As to 25 CF 2706. The state is again requesting a signature bond and a ban from the 5800 block of Balsam Road in Madison. Also a condition in that felony matter that she not possess any dangerous weapons. And I'll just note in support of the location bans that I'm requesting in each of these cases, it's my understanding, or my office has information, the defendant is currently being evicted, and this management at this particular location is in support of the address ban.
Counselor.
Your Honor, we'd have no objection to the conditions here. I think there are some. We would have an objection to the address ban here in regards to the circumstances. At worst case scenario, we would ask that there be a protection of the public allowed for Ms. Green to retrieve her property. In relation to the circumstances here, though, we'd be objecting to the ban from the address. Thank you.
I have reviewed the criminal complaints. As to both cases, I do believe the ban is appropriate. I will order a ban from the 5800 block of Bolson Road and give her a signature bond in both cases. In 25 CF 2706, I will also order that you not go armed with any dangerous weapons. As to preserve the peace, I will leave that up to law enforcement if they believe it is within their lethality assessment to accompany her to preserve the peace and collect her belongings. They can do so, but you cannot go to 5800 Balsam Road without a police officer, or is a violation of your bail condition. So you'll contact the police department, see if they're willing to assist you in doing that. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, counsel.
We'll waive time limits, Your Honor.
Those are waived. A status conference shall be scheduled. We are adjourned in Ms. Green's cases.
This one. Next up is Dane Miller. Miller.
Court will call 25 CF 2732, State of Wisconsin versus Jamie Miller. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Jamie Miller appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Winham for the State Public Defender's Office. Ms. Miller is eligible for public defender services. We don't have a current address for the court to update. We would acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading and stand mute to the charges.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. As to the misdemeanor charge, I do make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on Ms. Miller's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $500, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Jesus AC. That's Apple Candy, as in those last two initials. No contact with that individual without agent approval. A ban from the 2600 block of East Washington Avenue. I believe that would match 25 CF 1003. In support of the cash request, I'll note failures to appear on October 17th of this year, February 14th, also of 2025, February 12th of 2024, February 7th of 2024, and quite a few that are older, but I think cash bail is appropriate.
Counselor.
And I would be seeking a signature bond here. We'd have no objection to the non-monetary conditions, given the addition to the without agents approval. Ms. Miller has resided here in Dane County for the last 10 years. She does have one child that resides within the community. She's currently 6. She does reside in regards to the address band. In relation to the conditions here, we would also ask for an exception to be made to allow for contact for purposes of child exchange. Given Ms. Miller's current financial situation and given the nature of these charges, we'd ask that a more signature bond be appropriate, given the nature of these. Thank you.
Also, talk to your counselor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
In her underlying case, 25 CF 1003, there was a PSA report that was done on April 29th, gave her 6 out of 6 on new criminal activity, 6 out of 6 failure to appears. She's got 2 or more failure to appears in the past 2 years. More failure to appears older than 2 years. She's got prior sentences to incarceration. And on that case, she has failed to appear as recently as October. In regards to all of that, I believe cash bail is necessary to assure Ms. Miller's appearance at future court dates. We'll set a cash bail in the amount of $500. I will order no contact with Jesus AC without agent approval is in writing. Is that what the state was requesting?
That's correct.
I will order a ban from the 2600 block of East Washington. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, counselor.
We ask for a timely prelim.
Time of the prelim shall be scheduled. We are adjourned in Ms. Miller's case. I don't want to deal with version until I pay that bail request.
That's right. Right, that's right. Next up is ANNIEKAY MYERS. Myers. Report's gonna go.
For bail hearings, the state will call 25 CF 1889, 25 CF 2158. For initial appearances, state will call 25 CF 2730, 25 CF 2733, 25 CF 2734. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
ANNIEKAY Myers appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Ms. Myers is eligible for public defender services. We have an address update for the court, 829 Grove, Grove Street. Is that Sun Prairie?
Yeah.
Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. Do you know it? 53590. Your Honor, we'd acknowledge receipt of the complaints for the initial appearances. We'll waive their formal reading and stand mute to any misdemeanor charges.
As to the new cases, I do make a probable cause finding as to the misdemeanor in 25 CF 2734 and make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on her behalf. All other charges in these cases are felony matters. State's position on the newest cases and the bail on the older cases.
I'm going to start with 25 CF 2733. The state is requesting In that case, $3,000 cash bail, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Donna V. It's DONNA, last initial V as in Victor. Reason for the cash request, we are in Act 3 territory. What's alleged here is in the complaint is very concerning to the state. I'll also note the defendant failed to appear on October 16th of 2025. It has been in warrant status, I believe, for quite some time. There's also failures to appear on July 1st, 2025 and December 3rd of 2024. As to 25 CF 2730, the state is requesting $1,000 cash and a ban from Genuine Road. That's JENEWEIN. As to 25 CF 2734, the state's again requesting $1,000 cash. No contact with Lisa P. It's LISA. A ban from the 2300 block of Allied Drive. Again, a ban from Genuine Road. And as to cases ending in 1889 and 2158, I believe those are the two matters we're here for bail hearings. As I mentioned earlier, the defendant failed to appear for both those cases on October 16th. I believe she was on $500 cash on each of those cases. I would ask that that be increased to $1,000 on each of those and the reinstatement of the non-monetary conditions. I'd be happy to provide those to the court if they're needed.
My review, it looked like, she was on signature bond on both of those cases, and if one of the cases there was, pre-trial services, that's the case that one flagged or remote protesting.
My understanding as well.
Are you asking for an additional 500 or for 1,000?
I am asking for 1,000 total on each of those cases.
Counsel.
Yeah, I think a more modest amount of cash bail would be appropriate here, given the nature of these charges and given the circumstances. Ms. Myers is currently eligible for public defender services. She's a lifelong resident here in Dane County. She also has a 7-year-old child that resides within the community. I believe a cash bail in the amount of $250 to $500 across the cases would be each across the cases would be appropriate here. She is, like I stated, eligible for public defender services. She's currently applying for Social Security disability income. So for all those reasons, and given her ties to the community, we'd be seeking a more modest amount of cash. As far as the non-monetary conditions, think the ban from the entirety of Genuine Road, JENEWEIN, is a little overly broad. We'd ask that it just be the block in question.
I would note that 25 CF 2158 has a PSA report. It gives her 6 out of 6 out of new criminal activity, 5 out of 6 out of failure to appear, and that was completed in September 23rd. On that case, she then promptly failed to appear for hearings on October 16th after having that PSA report. So looking at the failure to appears, that PSA report recommending cash bail and the number of new offenses, I do believe cash bail is necessary to assure Ms. Myers' appearance at court. In 25 CF 1889, I will set cash bail in the amount of $500 and reinstate all non-monetary conditions. In 25 CF 2158, I will set cash bail in the amount of $500 and reinstate all non-monetary conditions. In 25 CF 2730, I will set cash bail in the amount of $500 and order a ban from the 4,000 blocks of Genuine Road, 4,000 to 5,000 blocks of Genuine Road. In 25 CF 2733, I will set cash bail in the amount of $1,000 and no contact with Donna B. In 25 CF 2734, I will set cash bail in the amount of $1,000. No contact with Lisa P. A ban from the 2300 block of Allied Drive and the ban from the 4,000 to 5,000 blocks of Genuine Road. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing.
We asked for a timely prelim.
Those shall be scheduled. We are adjourned on Ms. Myers' cases.
This way, Mr. Myers, for this way. Next up is Karen Hall. Stand on the arms.
Court will call 25 CM 2153 for a bail hearing. Court will call for an initial appearance, 25 CM 2421, State of Wisconsin versus Karen Hall. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Karen Hall appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Your Honor, we acknowledge receipt of the new complaint. We'll waive its formal reading. We'll stand mute to the charge.
Is the address on,
There's no address
is
listed.
there any best address for Ms. Hall? I have reviewed the criminal complaint in 25 CM 2421. I do make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on her behalf. State's position on bail in these cases.
In 25 CM 2153, this case we're here for a bail hearing. State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $500, along with the condition reinstatement of the no alcohol condition. Looks like the defendant failed to appear on November 19th. There was a bench warrant issued, absent a good reason for missing court. I think cash is appropriate to ensure her future court appearance. And in line with that, as to 25 CM 2421, state's requesting another $500 and a no alcohol condition. Thank you.
Counselor.
We'd be seeking a signature bond across these two cases, with no objection to the non-monetary conditions. Currently, Ms. Hall is residing, the best address for her right now is at the Beacon. She does have limited financial resources. We're unaware if she's eligible for public defender services. But based off of conversations that I've had with Ms. Hall, I believe that she is currently indigent. Given her financial circumstances and given the nature of these charges, I do believe that a signature bond would still be appropriate. There's not a large incentive for flight given the severity or lack thereof here. I understand that she did miss court, but I do believe giving her another chance would be appropriate given the totality of the circumstances. Thank you.
Given the non-appearance, I do believe some cash bail is necessary to assure Ms. Hall's appearance at future court dates. In 25 CM 2421, I will set cash bail in the amount of $151.
I'm sorry, Al, was that $150?
Yes. Were there any non-monetary conditions being requested in that one?
No consumption or possession of alcohol.
And I will order no consumption or possession of alcohol. In 25 CM 2153, I will also set cash bail in the amount of $150 and reinstate all non-monetary conditions. We are adjourned in Ms. Hall's cases.
Okay, this one. Next up is Gregory Foley. Foley.
Court will call 25 CF 737, State of Wisconsin versus Gregory Foley, appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Gregory Foley appears in person and in custody and with attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. We are unaware at this time if Mr. Foley is eligible for public defender services. I'm handing him a copy of the public defender sheet if he wishes to apply. Mr. Foley, the address on the complaint appears to be correct. At this time, we'll waive the formal reading and stand mute to the misdemeanor charges.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint as to counts 2 and 3. I make a probable cause finding and enter a not guilty plea on Mr. Foley's behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $1,000, along with the condition that the defendant not operate a motor vehicle, that he not consume or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. Reason for the cash request, it looks like there was particularly concerning dangerous driving that occurred in this case. I'll also note the defendant was in warrant status for OWI 4th out of Sauk County. That's 25 CF 467. He's also on probation for 24 CF 22. It's out of Sauk County. This is charged as an OWI 4th, and depending on the order these are pled to, I believe one of them will carry a mandatory prison sentence. Given the exposure, the dangerous conduct, and the fact that he was in warrant status, the state feels cash is appropriate.
Counselor.
And I would be seeking a signature bond here. I would note that these are not Act 3 eligible cases. So the purpose of cash bail is to adequately ensure his appearance in court. Given the nature of the circumstances here, do believe that a signature bond would still be appropriate. Just looking into the Sauk County matter. Your Honor, yeah, we would be seeking a signature bond in relation to these. Does currently reside here in Wisconsin. Does have ties here, and so for all those reasons, we'd ask for a signature bond. Thank you.
In Sauk County, it's 25 CF 467. And it looks like he had an initial appearance on August 27th, which entailed absolute sobriety. No operating a motor vehicle with any alcohol in his system. And he failed to appear for court on November 21st for a hearing there. Given the failure to appear in that other case, given the allegations in this case, I do believe to assure Mr. Foley's appearance at future court dates that cash bail is necessary. I will set cash bail in the amount of $500. I will order that you not operate a motor vehicle during the pendency of this action, that you not consume or possess any alcohol.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I believe the original request was for no drugs.
And that you not operate, and that you not possess or consume any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, counselor.
We'd ask for a timely prelim.
Preliminary hearing shall be scheduled timely. We are adjourned in Mr. Foley's case.
Okay, next up is DAEQUAN Lewis.
Court will call 25 CF 2745, State of Wisconsin versus DAEQUAN Lewis. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Daquan Lewis appears in person and in custody and with Attorney Devontae Wyndham from the State Public Defender's Office. Mr. Lewis is eligible for public defender services. The address on the complaint appears to be correct. We'll acknowledge receipt of the complaint. We'll waive its formal reading. I'll stand mute to count 2.
I have reviewed the criminal complaint. I do make a probable cause finding as to count 2 and enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $10,000, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Bulkus A, that he be banned from Diving Hawk Trail in Madison, that he have no contact with the co-defendants in this matter, and not possess any dangerous weapons. Reason for the significant cash request here, this is an armed robbery case, and it appears unlike Mr. Mather Fox, which we had a hearing for earlier, I believe Mr. Lewis's involvement, at least the way the complaint reads, is more akin to Mr. Caldwell's, or he was a more active participant. Therefore, I think a higher cash bail is appropriate.
Counselor.
We'd be seeking a more modest amount of cash in the amount of $1,000. I would note that Mr. Lewis is currently a resident here in Wisconsin, specifically Dane County. He's resided here for the last 6 years. In addition to that, he is public defender eligible. He's indigent. He's currently 17 years old. He's a high school senior at DeForest High School. Given the nature of his ties to the community, as well as the fact that he's residing with family here within the community, I would ask that a more modest amount of cash be placed here in the amount of $1,000. Thank you.
I have reviewed this criminal complaint. The 2 co-defendants have come before. Mr. Lewis's alleged participation is more intense than as alleged by Mr. Mather Fox, but more akin to Mr. Caldwell's. Given this is a Class C felony, which carries a large potential penalty, I do believe some cash bail is necessary, as this is an Act 3 eligible offense. And to assure Mr. Lewis's appearance at future court dates, I will set cash bail in the amount of $5,000. I will order no contact with Bulkus A, that he have no contact with either of the co-defendants, that he not go armed with any dangerous weapons, and that he not be at Diving Hawk Trail. Time limits as to the preliminary hearing, counselor.
We'd ask for a timely prelim.
Those are not waived, and a preliminary hearing shall be scheduled. We are adjourned in Mr. Lewis's case.
Next up is Jake Calvert for forfeiture. Calvert.
Court call 25 FO 2397 Dane County versus Jake Calvert. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the county, defendants here in person in custody without counsel.
Mr. Calvert, I have what some consider good news. The police department referred up criminal charges against you. The DA's office reviewed those police reports and decided not to charge you criminally. Instead, they've charged you with a county ordinance of possession of drug paraphernalia. It is similar to a parking ticket or a citation. It is non-criminal. If this is the only thing holding you in custody right now, you are going to be released today regardless of your plea. Sometimes it's a case that can be resolved today. What is the county's offer for resolution of this ordinance violation?
It'd be court costs only.
If you were to plead guilty or no contest to possession of drug paraphernalia, I would find you guilty. I would assess court costs of $114.50. If you want to plead not guilty, that's absolutely your right, and this case can get set for further proceedings. You would have time to pay. How would you like to plead to this matter?
Yes, so if I plead not guilty, then I will still be getting released,
Correct.
okay, I will plead not guilty.
I'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and the case will get set for further proceedings. Good luck to you, sir.
All right, that's everyone.